Dear ladies and gentlemen, so we are starting our session now, and I'll be inviting our guests to the panel. First of all, I'd like to invite Reyhan Merchant, please. Second is Dmitro from Wunder Digital. You can see. And Sher Jurabayev. So my name is Batyr Arifjanov, and you can see all our panel speakers today. We have quite interesting panel speakers and who will be representing different parts of the world. And all of these people, we are working as Geomotive and partnering in different geographies. So before I jump into the discussion, I'd like to ask the panel speakers quickly introduce themselves and just for the audience to understand what they're doing and what kind of companies they're running and what is the main focus of their business. I think we'll start with Reyhan Merchant, please.
And at that time, there was offline, unconnected media, and it was very limited options. So you had newspapers, you had print, or printed form of advertising was at that time more important than video. And if you went video, you had very limited options of distribution, the advertising. Fast forward 35 years, today our advertisers, the agencies and the people that we work with, none of them want to even look at out of home because it is not transparent, because you have very little data on traffic available, you don't know who is passing by, and most money is now going on to, and we manage about $100 million of investments on behalf of our customers. About 40% of it goes on digital. Now, in digital, you could have social media. In digital, you could have video delivery through, let's say, a YouTube or some of the other OTT platforms that you have. And the reason why we rely more on those inventories is because we have a clearer idea of who we are targeting. Out of home, and this is one of the reasons why we are partnering with Geomotive, is because it is picking up the advantage of digital to pull data from various sources and then bring that back in form of a video so that it becomes measurable on people who view it. I'll stop there. We can come back to this.
Thank you. Dmitro?
Hello to everyone. My name is Dmitro. Originally I'm from Ukraine. And first of all, I want to say that it's not a usual thing for me to speak in English in panel discussions. So thanks to Batyr for this invitation. I'm from digital, so it's like Wunder Digital. It's innovative digital hub, digital agency, and our brand performance campaigns help our clients to sell more. So that's our core business, and we are covering six countries. And I want to say that first of all, I was born in a newspaper world, and approximately 20 years I'm in marketing, so it's like a long journey for me. And I'm still interested because a lot of innovations, a lot of interesting thing is happening right now, thanks to Meter with its big data in digital out of home. And right now we are covering 6 markets, and one of them is Poland. It's the last market that we covered in previous year. it's very competitive market, and for example, we are not there as not only as a digital agency, but also we have approximately 1,000 screens as indoor operator in Belarus and Poland. So I can see the whole picture, like from point of view as an owner of screens, and also like a digital agency that is producing a huge amount of campaigns, because we have approximately 200 clients in 6 markets and approximately 1,000 ad campaigns through 1 month. So it's like numbers that I can share right now, and I believe that why we are here. So I believe that transition to one point of contact, to transition to end-to-end reach with our clients is the thing that is happening right now. And transparency is very important for our clients, and especially for digital out of home. So right now we are shifting our attention to traditional offline media, because we see that it's like trend, very important trend, and also in Europe and here. Thanks.
Thank you, Dmitro. We will be coming back to the case of Poland, I guess, several times, because this is something which we are very much interested, because we are starting operations together with you guys in this market. And now I'd like to give a floor to Cher.
You can continue.
No, we will. I'll give you the floor, then we will.
Hello, everyone. May I ask you for a round of applause for our guests, please? Thank you very much. Right now you are waking up. Thanks a lot. My name is Cher. I'm from Tajikistan originally. I'm marketer from 1995. So I have the proper education, and right now I'm working in the big network agency, the part of WPP. So I'm not specialized in some particular media. We work across all the media, so I can compare, and I have some thoughts about why digital OH could be the next big thing in advertising. So that's all.
Great. That's what we'll be definitely needing in our conversation. So basically today, the purpose of this panel discussion is to understand how outdoor advertising evolved, and what took it to the current status as of now. For that purpose, because what we are concentrating now, and the mostly audience is representing like Central Asian countries, we would like to understand the trends which was taking place in other parts of the world. That's why we, from the neighboring countries in Tajikistan to far Asia, like in Pakistan, maybe some neighboring countries like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and other places, and some Eastern European countries experience like Poland. So we will be trying to see all the possible interactions to understand where the possibly Central Asian trends will be taking us to. In this regard, first I would like to ask you a question about how do you see from your experience, because all of you have a significant experience in this sphere already. In your experience, how the outdoor started evolving, what it started with. I know for this question, Raihan prepared a small demo, like a presentation, and I'll first give the turn to you, so we can put the presentation on now. If you can put the presentation.
Great. So when I started my career, a lot of these used to be hand painted, and it used to be fascinating. It used to be fascinating looking at people not just painting such elaborate material, but hand painting it. And this is just an example. So this is a time when cigarettes could be advertised. Right now it's nowhere. These are all examples of how it started. People used to actually paint pictures of humans. And then it moved on to what became laminated screens, and these laminated billboards stayed for a lot of people, and I'm sure when you guys were growing up you also saw a lot of these laminated boards, which still exist, by the way. They seem to have the longest life. They refuse to go away. We also ended up with something called tri-vision billboards, which look like this. However, they are now being shifted or moved away into some of the lenticular billboards, and now you can even see videos on some of them, which are now being replaced by the digital LED screens. The reason why I want to stop here is because this journey has actually taken about a good 40 years. However, if you look at the amount of spending on out-of-home advertising over the last 40 years, it has not gone up. And the reason why it has not gone up is because it was difficult to measure how many people passed by. It was difficult to measure the ROI of people seeing an out-of-home site or an outdoor site and then going and buying. So even in terms of planning your locations, we have had plans which said, here are 11,000 retail outlets, and you want to place a billboard within 1 kilometer of that retail outlet, so that when people pass by that billboard and they see your brand, it is the last thing they remember when they go into shop. So that's kind of the evolution, because a lot of these decisions are based on human behavior, not on actual data. So now when you have actual data coming through digital, which tells you this is the audience and these are the number of people from your audience who viewed your ad either on an OTT or on or your post on Meta, you get more data. And when you compare that to out of home, where you don't get that specific data, is where the money has gone down. Out of $100 million of advertising that we manage in Pakistan for advertisers like Procter & Gamble, Nestle, Pepsi Cola, these are all big advertisers. And they feel very, very uncomfortable when we go back to them and say, why don't you spend 15% of your budget on out of home? And they're like, please tell us the ROI. Right? And because we don't have that ROI, that money eventually ends up getting spent. And these are two messages I want you to keep thinking about. Is one is video, and two is how many people were viewing that video and who those people are.
I want to change our point
You can change
of
the
view.
topic.
Yes, guys. Let's assume media vehicles at all of them, like TV, digital, radio, even out of home. Out of home has one big advantage. For example, the customers, they came to TV, to radio, at internet for content. And our commercial, our advertising is intrusive. We're interrupting their presence in this media. They're there for content, not for advertising. We are bother them with advertising. It out of home, the advertising is a content. You are not competing with another interesting content like, I don't know, cats, memes, Trump at internet, or even football match. So the beautiful thing about out of home, if you use it properly, you will benefit more than other media, because you are not competing with the content. You are not, the people are not rejecting you because you are interrupting something. You're just there because it's just the nature of out of home. Did you ever think about this?
Yeah, I guess it's a very good observation, because outdoor on its own is a content.
That's right.
And
That's
you are
right.
not like trying to interfere into the
Absolutely.
into
Absolutely.
experience of someone trying to consume the content.
That's right.
The
That's right.
content itself is
So
advertising.
attitude is already there. It's not a bad, it's good because you are there. So, well, my suggestion is during your campaign in out of home, please treat it properly. It's not like, okay, let's take the picture from our video and we will put there, or some small part of the video commercial should be there. No, no, no. Make it proper and relevant to this media, and you will benefit immediately.
Yeah, this is actually the problem we started witnessing ourselves when we launched our marketplace a couple years ago. We started seeing people like bringing us, it's happening already without us even, and they just simply take whatever they have been showing on a TV. They say like, okay, just cut it in a smaller form, and just let's post it, because anyway it's a video, who cares? But I hear you, and there is a point that it has to be properly adopted.
That's why it could be the next big thing in advertising at all. Not only in digital advertising, in whole industries, we will use it properly. It could definitely boost to some extent the effectiveness of our campaign. Another thing that we have to mention is already you told about this is measurement and targeting also.
Yeah. We'll come to this, but before that, I'd like to hear from Dmitro. You are mostly coming from the digital, like I don't know. Did you do outdoor before we started working as a Geomotive with you guys, or?
No, we are a classic digital performance agency, but we see very simple thing. So I have a question to you guys. So raise the hand, please. Who has opened Instagram right now?
Who is what?
Open Instagram.
Who has an open Instagram?
Instagram that is opening on your phone right now. So a very interesting discussion. So it was like a test. So I that of home can be as simple as running ads in Instagram. So everyone knows that you can put only two, three things, and you can run an ad campaign in Instagram. So it's very simple, and you can do it now in digital out of home as an Instagram, because first of all we were buying pictures, then we were buying square meters, then what is the next one? So we should buy audience, and right now it could be possible with meter. So it's a very simple idea. I think that history is making right now. It's like revolution for out-of-home advertising, and we see as a digital agency that we can enrich our campaigns with digital out-of-home campaigns, and we can do that in a very simple way. So that's the idea.
Thank you. So.
Let me just add something, because
ahead.
it's very important. Keep in mind that today is most valuable thing in your campaign. It's not the square meters or even optimization in terms of CPA or CPV or something like this. It's about having people intention in this proper moment. Because you can run campaigns, you can buy cheap TV or even play some very, very cheap digital campaign, but if nobody pay attention to you, you will lose anyway. So the out-of-home, you can't ignore dozens of square meters of moving pictures. So that's another beautiful thing about advertising in digital out-of-home.
I guess we're moving to the very interesting topic that out-of-home as itself was not pretty much like valued properly, and you mentioned about it, and Dmitro, you have been like not by words, by your actions proved that as an agency mostly focusing in digital, you started like acting as someone who will be directing some of your clients' budgets to outdoor, because you saw something reasonable in that, right?
Yeah, we have several cases, and right now we are getting done one of the cases with Gerbalife for E+ Awards. So it's also made with meter, and the basis for this campaign is how we can, for example, in Uzbekistan we had a campaign with Herbalife, and we have like 3 times rising brand awareness for Herbalife here in Uzbekistan for 2 months with low budget campaign, with digital and digital out of home campaign, using combining and using end-to-end reach for the client without TV campaign. So for us it was like first case for such a huge enlargement for the client.
Beautiful. Raihan, you mentioned that the trend you have witnessed in this markets was like evolving for the past 40 years, but the budgets, as you mentioned, didn't change much because of all the problems and complications you have already mentioned. What do you think? Like, does outdoor advertising still has its like appeal to the agencies and the brands, despite of the lack of the transparency? We will come to the point of the transparency, to the statistics, but as it's from what your colleagues already mentioned in this form of that the content itself as an advertising, from that extent, does it have still like appealing factor to the agencies and the brands?
So to be honest, I think it depends on what you're using out of home for, right? And for most, if you're using a reminder, so let's say for most FMCG brands, if you're using out of home as a reminder, and so you take your key visual from the rest of your campaign, put it up on an out of home site, yes, as a reminder it works. The problem is, how are you going to measure that reminder on the awareness campaign, right? Because no research methodology allows you to separate the image recognition unless you have a camera put right next to an outdoor site. I'm walking through it, I look at the site, it captures my eyeballs, and it goes back and says, I looked at it. But what happened in my head? Nobody knows, right? So it depends, to answer your question, on what is the objective of the campaign. And now let me ask you a question. If you saw an out of home for a mobile app, like let's say Yandex, would you look at that and immediately go to your phone and download the app? No, you won't. But if you looked at an ad for a Coca-Cola or a shampoo, and you're going to a retail outlet to do your shopping, chances are that the brand is at the top in your head. And when you're buying a shampoo, chances are you would buy a Head and Shoulders and maybe not a Tresemme or a Sunsilk or something else. So to be honest, you can't take out of home away from a campaign. The reason why we keep reducing the budget is primarily because we don't know how to justify it back to a client.
But I would argue with you, like just for the sake of keeping the interest communication in our discussion, is that from the slides which my partner Alex just showed in the previous panel, you have seen that the top 2 players of the advertising spending in Uzbekistan currently are digital. One is like Uzum, which is online marketplace. The second one is exactly that Yandex. So how do you think that kind of like mix of the messages, because as you say, like it's brand positioning, or you have to go and do some actions, how it, in your opinion, it's working?
So look, and that's exactly where I'm trying to go, right? Because we also run an OTT application in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, in Myanmar, right? And the medium that we use other than digital is out of home. And the reason, or the method in which we use out of home, is specifically with a QR code which cuts the journey to two presses of a button, right? So if that is what you're using, and you have to design the message in such a way that it takes or it reduces the journey for a consumer from viewing the ad to getting what you want them to do.
Great. Sher, you wanted to add something?
Yes, I absolutely agree. The cases that you mentioned regarding seeing and immediately buying, it's old-fashioned recency theory in media planning. It works. It's there, but we should not limit, as you mentioned, to this rule, because right now out of home evolving very fast. For me, the solo campaign in out of home can be as effective as combining multiple channels if you use it properly. And also depends on what is your market goal and what you are going to achieve with this campaign, first of all.
Let me throw another question. Let me throw another question over there, okay? So let's say you are you're working on a campaign for an audience about which you know that they travel during the day in public transport, right? And let's say the app is a taxi service. Now, you know that they travel in a public transport, so will you then put an out-of-home site on the road and they're traveling in a bus, or will you put an LED screen in a bus and use video advertising in that? Or are you going to use both? Right? And that's a question of choice of media. They're both out of home. Right? The consumer is traveling. What you're trying to do is show that advertising. Which one would you choose if you had budget to only choose one? Right? An out of home site or in the, yes, or in the bus.
Yeah. So probably you want to implies that probably you will be opting for the mix of the different channels, correct? Great. So we're gradually moving to the mixture of outdoor and digital. There I would like to shift to Dmitro. In your experience from the campaigns you have run together with us and on a parallel, what was your feedback from the market and the customers when you tried to combine outdoor with the digital? Because we have been trying to experiment with you guys on retargeting on IDFA segments, trying to reach them on digital media. So maybe instead of me trying to brag about it, maybe you can tell from your own experience how you did this and what was actually the result and feedback from the market and the customers.
So you know, customers also want customers want to think only about the results and ROI. So they don't think about media mix and so on. So there is urgency for this part of job. But I can say that when we speak about retargeting, it's a very small part of campaigns, but it's very useful one because, for example, we see if we have, for example, 10 campaigns in digital with retargeting from digital out of home also, it's like 10 of them will be with increasing ROI when we comparing with only digital campaigns. And
combining is increasing ROI.
Combining is increasing ROI 10 of 10. But when we speak about what is the increase, I can say that from 30% to 50% increase in
30 to 50% increase
yes.
in ROI.
Yes.
Okay. So, but I have to tell you that we are one of the first in Central Asia to implement the solution when we allow the audience retargeting through the IDFA segments in digital. And we started experimenting and we started as a pioneering with this together with Window Digital, and we are very glad that we have had a very good results on it. So now we're talking about a mixture of different channels, but let's talk about like mixing different technologies, because we are living in an era where every day is a surprise of a new tech coming to the ground. So until now we have been talking about data. So let's talk about the data a little bit more. So until now, before the meter was introduced in Central Asia, everybody was like, as many other speakers told in the other panels, were kind of blind, to make any decisions. Not to the extent. Okay, maybe you can tell more about it. And what is your experience, how it's changing with implementation of that, please?
The problem is there. It was there since long ago. And it was many attempts to fix this. For example, GfK, the German company, which is in Russian, they tried to measure traffic by passing on the roads, on addresses, etc., etc. It was very expensive. And it doesn't guarantee you anything, but just provide you with okay, that's many potential views probably you will have. So first of all, the accuracy of the data that we receive with your tool, which allows us as marketers to be more precise during preparing campaign and working with expectation of our customers, first of all, and targeting. And it's a beautiful thing. For example, if I'll have opportunity to increase precision of targeting that I'm using in out of home, which never was a case, I will benefit it will be immediately. I'm not surprised when we're increasing return of marketing investment in folds, in 10 folds, X10, X12. I'm not surprised with this, which is good.
Yeah. Raihan, in your experience in this Asian part of the market, could you please tell what is available so far options of measuring market, if any, and what are the people currently relying on before we start entering together with you with our meter solution in there?
So let me flip this around slightly. Okay. A lot of times when we were moving our video budgets from offline television to online video spaces, whether it was OTT apps or YouTube or whatever, or Meta, this was called the digital, or it went into the digital budget bucket, right? So if you had television, if you had digital, you had out of home, you had print. So every time you placed a video ad on a digital platform, it went into the digital bucket, right? Now what we're talking about is one, being able to measure traffic passing through our out-of-home sites, which are powered by LED screens, and you can actually put a video up there, right? So the question is, are you still going to call it out-of-home, or are you going to start calling it digital, or are you going to call it video? Right? Because you can, over a period of time, you will start calling everything digital, right? Because that's how our world is. So how do we look at out of home? And because we did not have proper measurement tools, the question, or the first question when you're trying to measure out of home is, what is the traffic passing by? And the example you gave is at best an estimate. But now if you use data which is coming off of digital, where everyone has a mobile phone with an app which allows you to track your location, then at that moment in time, leveraging the information from digital, you can actually plan your sites on a route or on a traffic route, right? And that's what GeoMotive allows us the leverage to do. And that's the reason why out of home or stagnant and still out of home kind of keeps going down.
This is a very interesting perspective you gave, that instead of trying to call it isolated out of home only, we start looking at it as a part of the digital ecosystem. So basically we are closing the loop, right? We are closing the cycle, just covering that part. Mitro, would you like to add on that?
Yeah, I can say that first of all, I'm very glad to realize today that Uzbekistan is a very trendy country. So why I think so? First of all, while we were entering Poland market, we have collected some numbers and I can share it with you. For example, Poland is not in top 10 countries using digital out of home. But I can say that approximately 50% of the whole out-of-home budgets is digital out-of-home. And I can say that even 10% of them is buying from programmatic. So it's like you are buying Google, so you can also buy digital. It's very important because 10% is like an average percent for the whole world. In United States also is 10% is bought by programmatic digital out of home. And while I'm thinking about Uzbekistan, I can say that also we have a possibility to buy even in programmatic way, and it's very important for us because we can have we can increase our ROI by doing great campaigns, by doing great ad campaigns like United States, like for example Germany or Holland, like the most developed countries in Europe or in the world. So as the marketeers here, we can do the same as every biggest business in Europe and in the United States. So we have everything we need to be the hugest, to be in trend. So it's the idea.
Yeah, I can add you to that. Is that we started exploring the market in UK, and I was actually a little bit surprised. I was thinking like with big players like Ocean and Clear Channel, many others, I thought like the proportion of the programmatic digital outdoor placement is significantly higher. But for you, the big surprise is that it's just only picking up in UK as well. It's not like overwhelming, and it's not like everywhere. And moreover, the solutions we're talking in terms of like providing analytics and analytics of the traffic, we can see that we are resonating with the demand coming from the market. So we're just like we're talking not about like something past. They have started looking at our methods and our technologies, and they're really surprised where you guys have been so far. Because so far what they are currently doing, there is a company called Root, which is like a national standard in UK, which is providing the analytics on the placement of the advertising on a quarterly basis. Based on a quarterly basis, the biggest multi-billion-dollar companies, quarterly. And when they ask us like, how old is your data, and we say like it's 1 day old, they're a little bit, let's say, shocked, but surprised to know that we can provide so fresh data which they can rely on, which is enabling actually the programmatic to be more precise.
I think this is not a case of UK only in something special. It's common situation. Even here, we are prizing that we are innovative, same as in Europe. But let's assume having this tool and let people use it and understand it, how it works. It's different. It's a whole new planet. So probably we will need to address this let me finish, please. I'll provide you. We have to address it not to the tools themselves, but to the market firstly.
So it will be first discussion today because I am not agree with this point. I can say that, for example, Poland is very conservative market, and not everyone is ready to speak about programmatic digital out of home or retargeting from digital out of home because they are not in demand. They are thinking about business results, and what is the tools is not very important. So it's like it's important the speed of how you can do business results. But you can say I can do this with digital out of home or something else. It's not the scene for them.
It's not relevant.
It's not relevant. But I can say that all the biggest networks, advertising network in Poland, is saying that it is obliged to have measurement in digital in out of home advertising, and especially in digital out of home advertising, because they have several players on this market, and so that's like I want to say that past several years in Poland, like also revolution, they are very conservative, but when we are speaking about measurement, they can measure their money in budget and measure ROI. And it's very important for them to do this. So you should show how you can increase ROI, how you can do business results for the client.
Yeah, please, Ryan.
I
Yeah.
disagree with you also.
No, I was just going to take this one step forward, okay? But before I take one step forward, let me pull you slightly back and remind you that post the pandemic, there has been a lot of pressure on companies which are selling products, and there is less and less and less money available to promote the product. Therefore, the mindset which has changed is that earlier, so let's say up until 2019, for most FMCG brands, it was, where is my top of mind awareness, where is my advertising awareness, and the research methods used would give you the answer, let's say on a weekly basis at best. Post the pandemic, every brand manager wants a return on investment, and they want the agency and which places their brands advertising to come back and tell them which 50% of the advertising worked. Now, once you go in that space, there are varying levels of data which will lead you to an ROI. The easiest method is through digital, where you can actually also sell the product online through e-commerce. And which is why, what you were mentioning earlier, we've gone from cost per thousand to cost per acquisition, right, to cost per engagement, to cost per transaction. And a lot of those metrics have changed. Now, where are you pulling the data from? You're actually pulling the data from digital, from the apps. It is just the method in which you do it. So as people move from offline television to online content, into connected TV, you will be able to find one data source, and that will take this data collection into what is called omni measurement, where you will, so if you're starting late, that's the beauty of it, right? And what you mentioned a little while earlier, because countries like Uzbekistan, countries like Pakistan, countries like Poland are coming late to that party, they will be faster on their journey to omni measurement and be able to close that loop on the ROI much faster than a UK. Because UK is still stuck with Barb on television audiences, right? And Barb doesn't take into account CTV. The advertisers don't want to look at Sky TV's numbers because they're collected actually. Right? So that's the trend you're looking at, which is using the same data and finding another use for it, like you did in out of home. So it's time to take it into connected TV and connect it to the television audiences.
I would like to move the topic a little bit to the other direction, since today we are launching our marketplace for the Central Asia, which will enable the agencies located in one part of the region to start the campaigns in other parts of the region. Like companies in Kazakhstan do advertising outdoor in Tashkent in Uzbekistan, or companies located in Tajikistan to do something in Kazakhstan, and all the cross. In this regard, I would like to draw you into the discussion. To what extent this cross-border interaction is important in outdoor? Does it has to be more isolated to the regions, or it has to be super open to include the whole world? Because we currently are working with a couple of potential clients who are telling us we want to be present in 47 countries. So where all this about tailoring of your approach, tailoring your message, understanding local exposure, this kind of claims which marketing was always talking about, how to deal with this kind of situation? Anyone want to start on this?
Yeah, I can start. So I think that globalization is not in trendy today's when we are speaking about the whole world. But when speaking about Central Asia, we have also 10 countries with Caucasus, and it's very important for us to serve the client in the region. And when we speak about, for example, Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan as separate countries where we have the deal for the region, so it's very important to have a different solution for the whole region. But I think that when we are speaking about omni-channel measurement, that's the only big idea that could solve the whole problem for the region. So I think that some kind of programmatic with uniting connected TV, digital out of home and digital, that is the only way that is possible to solve the client's needs.
Look, so the question that you just asked, which is a cross-border, actually adds, well, it could make life easier, but it could also make life more complex. And that is from a creative development perspective. Because as you go digital, the consumer expects the company to tailor make the material or the advertising, tailor make it to that particular consumer. I am the consumer. I don't want to see an ad when I am, for example, in Tashkent. I don't want to see the same ad which you're showing in Bukhara or when you're showing it in Tajikistan, because I might like something different. And that generates or that creates the need for adapting your creative into maybe 600 different creative executions. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is by using AI. You cannot create 600 banners, right? So the use of digital or the use of AI will then also come on identifying what you said, the one big idea, but then 500 executions, maybe down to each area in a city.
This is one of the things we have been discussing with Alex at some point, will it be possible on the fly to create the content with a sort of AI engine, giving tips from the programmatic standpoint, asking if the weather goes bad and starts raining, to show the
next move.
Probably this is, yeah, when the hallucination part is resolved, right? Would you agree on that?
Yeah, I agree, and I can say that it is fascinating speed of development. So I can say that in our agency we have right now developing the decision. So we already have this decision. So we can make approximately 1,000 video feed creatives in one day for every marketplace. So we are testing this right now in Kazakhstan.
It's amazing. So, but that proves another point that with all the speed of the technology evolution, you definitely need platforms like ours, like in order to advertising, to deploy all this creative instantly, not like sending in by USB flash and just calling or sending by email, right? All right, so now we talked about differences and some perspective. I would like to ask you guys from the marketing, from your own market's perspective, what is holding as a major obstacle in all of these new amazing things like entering faster to the market? What, in your understanding, like in different markets, we are coming across with different problems. Like for example, some markets are over-concentrated, over-unified under single player, and that player being ignorant, we don't have an easy access to the market. Or it's technologically not very evolved, like in some countries in Africa we can see, we cannot go there because they are too underdeveloped to be enabled. So, but from your own experience, what would be like a showstopper for these all the nice things we're currently discussing to go faster in the market, being adopted and being utilized on a daily basis?
I already mentioned it. It's not about you. It's not about technology. It's about people adopting your technology. We will have a joke in our agencies. Like we know that in most cases, the out-of-home advertising is the tool of lazy manager. I will put it next to my shop on the road of my chief executive, and if he see it, it works. I'm in a good position. They will prize me, and I will have promotion. So the problem is we are treating sometimes our product as a solutions, but they treat it as a new job that they have to learn, new skill that they have to have. So probably we have to focus not about solely improving our product or put any kind of AI tools inside of it to make it better, but to make people understand why and how can they benefit it and make it more easier to start with our product instead of make it complicated. That's my point.
So look, every time you add a new tool, right, or a new medium into the mix, the people that we work with, they have to train themselves or they have to go through a training program, right? And humans generally are resistant to change. So when you compare, or when you're comparing this platform, for example, to them working on the Google marketing platform or the DV360, and you say, here is another platform that you have to work on. So earlier, 100% of your job was about getting out of the GMP, planning your campaign. You finished that work in 2 hours. You can go and play video games or do something else for the next 2 hours. Now you have another tool. You have to learn it. You have to master it. You have to find ways of optimizing your campaign on it. And that is going to take another 2 hours. Do you think he's going to like you? No, he's not. Or she's not. Right? So the biggest hurdle is, like he said, adoption. Right? And unless you have the major buyers in the market on your side who will train their teams.
Or push them.
You can't really push them, because the Gen Alpha will resign and leave. right? And they'll go find another job, right? And these are your 23, 24-year-olds who will do this. So you need to find a gamified way of building a training program which helps them learn it better.
Nature, you want to add something?
I can add because I have like a different point of view, different opinion. So I'm a digital nerd, excuse me. So I'm like looking for this from methodology of key success factors, and I think that for if we are speaking about Uzbekistan, it's like an example. I can say that you have 3 huge key success factors here and in every country in the world. So first of all, it's like a diversification of suppliers. So if you have a lot of suppliers in the market, so you can be successful. So second part is to be cheaper. Like digital out of home should be cheaper than TV, so you have the possibility to work with. And I think very important third part is growing market. So if the market is growing, you can also show for the client how media mix modeling should be done with your partners. And I think that's enough for you to be successful in every market that can meet these expectations and meet these requirements. So I think there are a lot of markets for you in the world.
Super. I guess on this very positive note, I will make a quick summary of what we have discussed, and if you have an urge to add something onto this, please welcome. So we have discussed like how the outdoor evolved, and we see that the technology of course contributed, and we can see with the technology it's becoming more transparent and more measurable, and with all the new adaptation increasing ROI, we will be expecting the outdoor to become like the inevitable new channel, not a new channel, like a revived channel in the marketing mix of the old agencies and brands. If you have like a one word or small sentence things to add to this, welcome, and we'll wrap it up after that. So you agree with that, right? Yeah, that's very good. Okay, thank you. So big applause to our participants of the audience, and thank you very much for sharing your experience, and for the whole audience to take such a long time to sit and hear and be patient with us. Thank you. Yes, happy to have you.